Hi, my name is Abigail Seymour. I am a child custody and family law attorney in Greensboro, North Carolina. And today I want to talk a little bit about grandparent custody, or third-party custody as it's called. A lot of people are frustrated by this fact, which is true in a lot of states, which is certainly North Carolina, that grandparents actually do not have any rights in their grandchildren. That is sort of the top line bit of information, but like most things in the law, there's exceptions to that. So yes, if you've got an intact family, your kids are married and have kids, and therefore you have grandchildren, on paper you do not have any rights for those kids. You can visit them whenever you want, but it doesn't mean that you can get custody of them if something, anyway, you can't get custody right off the bat. Here's when you can. If there is an ongoing case, let's just say that your child split from his or her ex, and there is a custody case, so they each have custody, or there's a custody case between them, you can intervene into that case. You can make a motion to intervene and become a third party to that case. There are ways to do that. Again, that's the only time that you can begin to assert your rights. There's usually a reason for this, because one or both parents has some fitness issues, which I'll talk about next. Let's just say that as opposed to them being functional and having a case together, and therefore you intervene, unfortunately a much more common thing that's been happening lately is that one or both of the parents actually is in active drug addiction at the moment, or has mental health issues, or is incarcerated. There's all number of reasons that can cause strife for someone's adult children, and those children need help. The children need help, and then the adult children need help, and so this is where the grandparents can come in. That is the only time, really, but there are ways to go about that. In order to get that, you need two things. You need standing, which is to say that you need to not just be randomly related to those kids, but have had a significant relationship with them, whether they lived with you for a while, whether the parent and the grandchildren lived with you, whether you were the sole caregiver of those children while your child was in treatment. There are a number of different scenarios that would create what we call standing. So that's the first prong. And the second is that there needs to be unfitness in those parents. Again, that is not really defined, but when you've got somebody who's really struggling with opiate addiction in particular, which is such a problem right now, or with a mental health diagnosis, and they're just not able to care for their kids. In some ways it becomes adversarial, but in a lot of ways it's really the most loving thing you can do for your own child, is to make sure that their children are being cared for. So there has to be allegations of that unfitness. Sometimes that person will actually consent to and admit to that unfitness because it is in their child's best interest. That's truly sacrificing yourself for your child because you know that that's what's best for them. This has all different kinds of ways it can be carried out. But that is something that we handle a lot, and it's something I'm particularly passionate about because I have been in recovery myself for 25 years actually, and I love working with addicts. I love helping their families, and sometimes that means helping them get their kids back if they've been out and have come back and they're sober and clean and sober. And I have another video about that for modification of custody, but I also really want to help them do what's best for them and their children, which means sometimes facilitating such that their parents can take care of the children for them, and create a stable home for those kids while they're working on their own recovery and their own health and stability. So those are the ways you could sort of start out with no rights. You can have rights as an intervener, or you can assert those rights because indeed the parent has severe struggles and you've got standing because of your parent-like relationship already with your grandchildren. I hope that's helpful, and if so, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook at Camino Law. Thank you.